know why we say I enjoyed singing, but I decided to sing? In English, when we use two verbs together, sometimes the second verb is a gerund and sometimes it's an infinitive. I explain everything in this video. And we cover some advanced points like the passive gerund and the continuous infinitive towards the end of the video, so stay with me. Before we start, I'd like to tell you that there's a free PDF of the lesson notes. Just click the link in the description to get it. Hello, I'm Shona and I run perfectenglishgrammar.com. We help millions of students every month improve their grammar and their English. Let's have a look again at our examples. I enjoyed singing. There are two verbs here. The first verb is enjoyed, and it's a normal past simple. The second verb, singing, is in the gerund form. This is verb plus ing, like going or seeing or waiting. Here's our second example. I decided to sing. Again, we have two verbs. The first verb, decided, is a normal past simple. The second verb, sing, is this time in the infinitive form with to. Why is this? It's because the verb enjoy is always followed by a gerund form, and the verb decide is always followed by to and the infinitive. So we can say, you'll enjoy meeting Julie, or he'd always enjoyed travelling, or I'm enjoying chatting with you. And we also say he'd decided to go home. They'll decide to buy the car. She always decides to have the pasta in the restaurant. And we don't say you enjoyed to sing. It's not possible. And we also don't say he decided singing. That's not possible either. If we want the second verb to be negative, we add not after the first verb. He enjoys not working, so he enjoys himself when he's not working. She decided not to buy the car. So in this case, the decision was not buying, so she didn't buy the car. Now, for the bad news, there really isn't any logic to this. But a verb like enjoy that takes the gerund generally always takes the gerund. And a verb like decide that takes the infinitive generally always takes the infinitive. We just have to learn it for each verb. And later there are some exceptions to this, but I will explain those. Here are some verbs that are always followed by the gerund. Finish. We finished cleaning the kitchen. Discuss. We discussed going to the gym. Mind. I don't mind waiting. Be careful with this one because I hear to an infinitive often with mind. Suggest. He suggested meeting early. Practice. I practice conjugating verbs. And can't help. I can't help eating your chocolate cake. We also say spend and time and verb ing. I spent 2 hours cooking last night, or he spends every evening playing computer games. On the other hand, here are some verbs that generally take to and the infinitive. Agree. He agreed to write something for the magazine. Expect. I expected to arrive late. Hope. They hope to see Luke tomorrow. Learn. He is learning to speak Italian. Need. She needs to get up early. Plan. I plan to go to Milan next month. Promise. David promised to help me. And want. I want to go home. In British English, we also use the gerund in general after love, like and hate. Love. I love reading. Hate. She hates running. Like. He really likes travelling. But with would like and would love and would prefer and would hate, we always use to and the infinitive. I would like to pay for the coffee. She would love to explore Paris. We would prefer to go by taxi. I would hate to drive so far. With the verb help, we can use either to and the infinitive or the infinitive without to, with no change in meaning, and it makes no difference. I helped to find her glasses, or I helped find her glasses. It's the same. Now let's talk about objects. Sometimes when we use to and infinitive, we also need a direct object after the first verb. Here are some verbs that take direct object and to and infinitive. Allow. I allowed the children to watch a film. So in this case, we need the direct object, the children. We don't say, I allowed to watch a film. We need to allow someone. Convince. She convinced me to come to the restaurant. Encourage. The waiter encouraged us to try the cake. Invite. He invited me to apply for the job. Persuade. He persuaded me to get dessert. Remind. The teacher reminded us to review the vocabulary. Teach. She is teaching the students to use the gerund. Tell. The boss told me to come back later. And warn. We warned them to be careful. Some of these verbs can also use a that clause, which is that and another subject and another normal verb, after an object instead of a to infinitive. So for example, with the verb persuade, we can say either he persuaded me to get dessert, or he persuaded me that I should get dessert. There are also some verbs that can optionally have an object if the subject of the second verb is different before the infinitive. So in this case, it changes who is doing the second verb, and it works with and without. So let's take the verb ask. We asked to go home. That means we want to go home. But we asked her to go home. It means we want her to go. I want to stay, and I would like her to be at home and not to be here. Expect. I expect to arrive soon, but I expect them to arrive soon. Want. He wants to eat now, or he wants the children to eat now. It changes the subject of who is eating. Would like. They would like to sit in the garden, or they would like you to sit in the garden. Would love. I would love to find a hotel, or I would love you to find a hotel. Would hate. She would hate to fail the exam, or she would hate the students to fail the exam. In the first one, she is the person who is failing. In the second one, it's the students. And finally, would prefer. He would prefer to travel by plane, or he would prefer us to travel by plane. A few of the verbs that need an object before to and infinitive can also be followed by a gerund without an object. So this is a little bit of an advanced point, but in this case, when we use the gerund, we're talking in a general sense without specifying a person. So with the verb advise, for example, I don't advise you to smoke is with the object and then with to and the infinitive. But we can also say we don't advise smoking. And in that case, we don't want smoking in the general sense rather than just you. Allow is like this. We don't allow using calculators. Normally we'd say we don't allow the students to use a calculator. Encourage. I encouraged my students to study hard, but with the gerund, in the general sense, we can say, I encouraged studying hard. Everyone should study hard. Lastly, there are many verbs which can use an object and a gerund when the subject of the first verb and of the gerund are different, in the same way as with to and infinitive. So, dislike. He dislikes arriving late. That's talking about him. And he dislikes us arriving late. That's talking about us. Imagine. I imagine sitting on a beach. That's me. I imagine you sitting on a beach. That's you. Love. I love cooking. Or I love you cooking, as in please cook for me. It is amazing. Mind. I don't mind going to the park. Or I don't mind him going to the park. And miss. I miss singing in the choir. In this case, I am the person singing. Or we can say, I miss you singing in the choir. Maybe I used to enjoy watching you. Okay, now let's come to the section where we talk about verbs that can take to an infinitive or gerund and change their meaning. The most important verbs to remember are try and stop and remember. Let's start with remember. When we use remember with a gerund, we're talking about a memory of something that happened in the past. It's like, a film in your head. I remember going to London when I was a child. It means I have a memory. When you close your eyes, you can imagine the scene. I have a memory of going to London. Or he remembers meeting Julie. It means when he thinks back, he can imagine, the house where he met Julie and what he said, all these things. On the other hand, when we use remember and to an infinitive, this is when you think of something that you need to do. So the thought comes into your head. I remembered to buy bread. So in this case, I was walking home and the idea came into my mind, I need to buy bread. And so I went to the shop and I bought some bread. She remembered to call her dad. So at some point, the thought, I need to call my dad came into her head and she was like, oh yes, I must do that. And then she called him. Okay, our next verb is try. When we use try with a gerund, it's when you do something as an experiment. So the thing itself is not difficult, but you want to see if you do this thing, what the result will be. So I wanted to stop using Instagram so much, so I tried deleting the app. So in this case, it's easy to delete an app, but will it help me use Instagram less, or will I just use it on my computer? It's an experiment. She tried giving up pasta, but it didn't help her lose weight. So maybe for her, it's easy to give up pasta. She's not that keen on pasta. But when she did this, it didn't help her lose weight. So maybe actually ice cream is the problem. On the other hand, when we use try and to and the infinitive, this is when the thing you are trying to do itself is difficult. And it means that maybe you might not succeed. Especially if you use this in the past, it usually means that you didn't succeed. I'll try to arrive on time, but the train is already 40 minutes late. So it's very hard for me to arrive on time. This isn't an experiment. The thing that I'm trying to do is arrive on time. I tried to get a new job, but I didn't succeed. So in this case, I did a lot of things to get a new job, but it didn't work. Okay, let's talk about stop with the gerund. When we stop doing something, it means that the verb in the gerund is the thing that we stop. And it can mean stop forever, or it can just mean stop for that moment. I stopped drinking wine when I was expecting a baby. So drinking wine is the thing that I stopped. My father stopped working when he was 70. Working is the thing that he stopped. However, when we use stop and to in the infinitive, we stop something else in order to do the verb in the infinitive. I stopped to get water. So I stopped something else. Maybe I was working, maybe I was running, because I wanted to get some water. And getting water is the thing that I did after I stopped. She was shopping and she stopped to sit down. So she stopped shopping because she wanted to sit down in order to sit down. Okay, these are the basic verbs that change their meaning when they're followed by gerunds or infinitives. But I promise some advanced uses in this video. There are quite a few more verbs at advanced level that also change their meanings. Let's go. Come and to an infinitive talks about something that happened, maybe something that you didn't expect. How did you come to meet James? This means, how did it happen that you met James? Or, I came to like the job in the end. It means, over time, it happened that eventually I liked the job. But come with the gerund talks about how someone or something moves. The children came running. It means the children came and they were running. The horse came galloping across the field. Forget. Forget with the infinitive, this is quite similar to remember. This talks about something that you needed to do and you didn't do because you forgot about it. I forgot to turn off the iron. I needed to turn off the iron and I didn't remember. He forgot to send the email. So he knew he needed to send the email, but maybe something happened and then later he was like, oh no, I didn't send the email. Forget and the gerund talks about an experience that you still remember. It's usually used in the negative because if you use it in the positive, then you don't remember it. I will never forget meeting the king. So it did happen once that I was in the same room as the king. He was Prince Charles at that time. And I will never forget this situation. Another example, he won't forget talking to you. Let's talk now about go on. When we use go on with to and the infinitive, it's talking about what somebody becomes or does later, usually later in their life. It's often about their career. That little girl went on to become a famous writer. So later in her life, she became a famous writer. He went on to start his own company. That means later in his career, he started his own company. On the other hand, go on with the gerund is similar to continue. Please go on eating. You don't need to stop. Don't go on studying too late. All right. Need. So, of course, need and to an infinitive is the normal way of using need. I need to work late tonight. She needs to practice the piano more. However, we can use need with the gerund, and it's actually a type of passive structure. The house needs cleaning, and this means somebody needs to clean the house. I need hugging means somebody needs to hug me. All right, our next verb is mean. Mean with to an infinitive is similar to intend to. I didn't mean to be late. This means I didn't intend to be late. It wasn't my plan to be late. She meant to take the food out of the freezer, but she forgot. This meant she intended to take the food out of the freezer, but she forgot about it. On the other hand, mean with the gerund talks about when the action involves doing something. This is easiest with an example. If we want to arrive at 7 a.m., it means leaving at 6 a.m. So this means if we want to arrive at 7 a.m., then we have to leave at 6 a.m. I'd like to go to the concert, but that means booking a ticket today. So if I want to go to the concert, then I have to book a ticket today. And we use mean in this way quite often. All right, let's talk about regret. Regret and to and the infinitive introduces a formal announcement to say that the news you are announcing makes you feel sad. We regret to inform you that the match has been postponed. Or, I regret to tell you the results of the exam. This is quite a set phrase. It's like a polite way to say, hey, I have bad news. Regret and the gerund, on the other hand, is neither formal nor informal, it's just normal. And it's talking about something that you wish you had done differently in your life. She regrets quitting university. So she quit university and now she is sad that she did that. She wishes she hadn't quit. He regrets driving so fast. So he drove too fast. Maybe he got a ticket. So he wishes now that he didn't drive so fast, that he hadn't driven so fast. As well as these verbs that change their meanings completely, we can use sense verbs like see or hear or watch with a gerund or an infinitive, in this case without to, and the meanings are slightly different. Sometimes when we use the infinitive without to, it means that you see or hear the whole action, whereas if you use the gerund, it means that you see or hear only part of the action. However, sometimes there's not actually that much difference in meaning, especially if the action is short, and you can choose whichever one you like. I saw her park the car. So in this case, it means I saw the whole action from when she started to park until when she stopped the engine and got out of the car. On the other hand, I saw her parking her car means I saw a little piece of the action. She had already started parking when I started watching. They heard us sing Happy Birthday, the whole song. They heard us singing Happy Birthday, part of the song. They watched the boys play a game. You imagine they're watching the whole game from start to finish. They watched the boys playing a game, in this case probably only part of the game. All right, now let's talk about the perfect gerund and the perfect infinitive. So we can make an advanced type of gerund and infinitive that we use when we talk about things in the past. These are called the perfect gerund and the perfect infinitive. We make the perfect gerund with not, if you want to have not, having, and the past participle. And we use it in structures that need a gerund when we want to talk about an event or an action in the past. So, for example, I hate waiting. This is a normal gerund. And in this case, it means I hate waiting in general. I hate having waited for so long. In this case, having waited, the perfect gerund, emphasizes that this was in the past. So in this case, we imagine there was a particular situation where this person waited for a long time and they didn't like it. I enjoy running. This is a normal situation. I enjoy having run. So in this case, I'm saying, I don't really enjoy the actual running, but I love it afterwards because I feel so good. So in this case, I am talking in general. It means that every time I run, I don't enjoy the running part, but I like it afterwards. In many cases, both of these are possible. It's just that the perfect gerund focuses a bit more on the idea that the action is in the past. And maybe in your sentence, you would like to emphasize that. In the same way, we make the perfect infinitive with not and to and have, not if you want, to and have and the past participle. And we can use it instead of a normal infinitive to emphasize that the action or the event was in the past. It seems to be fine. This is normal, a normal to an infinitive, and it means that now it seems that everything is fine. But it seems to have been fine suggests that the being fine was in the past, and I want to emphasize that. So maybe something happened yesterday, and I just want to make sure that you know that the event yesterday was fine, and I just want to emphasize a little bit the pastness of it. I expect to arrive at 10 a.m. Completely normal. I expected to have arrived by now. So in this case, I'm pushing the arrived back into the past because I thought it would have already happened. All right, let's talk about the continuous infinitive. We can also make a continuous type of infinitive. This structure is not, if you want not, to and be, and gerund, verb ing. We can use it instead of a normal infinitive if we want to say that the action is in progress at a particular moment. So, I hope to go to bed at 10 p.m. This is a very normal hope with to an infinitive, and it means that at 10 p.m. I want to get into bed. But I hope to be sleeping at 10 p.m. means I hope that the action of sleeping will already be in progress. So maybe I went to sleep at 9:30. I hope to be completely asleep, dreaming at 10 p.m. Another example. I plan to go on holiday next week. Normal. I plan to be lying on a beach this time next week. This means, hopefully, I will be lying on the beach at this moment. It will be in progress. Hopefully, I started it in the morning and I spent the whole day lying on the beach. All right, finally, let's talk about passives. We can make a passive infinitive. Not, if you want not, to and be and the past participle. We use the passive infinitive in sentences where we normally use an infinitive when we want a passive meaning. I agreed to teach the class. This is normal. I will teach. It's not passive. However, I agreed to be taught. So in this case, I agreed to let someone else teach me. The teaching is from someone else towards me. I hope to invite you all to the party. This means I hope that I will invite you. So maybe I don't know yet how many people will fit in my house, but I very much hope that I will be able to invite everybody. On the other hand, so that one is not passive. On the other hand, I hope to be invited to your party. This means I hope that you will invite me. So it's a passive meaning. I hope to be invited. Last of all, the passive gerund. So the passive gerund is not, if you want not, being and the past participle. We can use this in the same structures that we normally use a gerund if we want a passive meaning. I love showing people my house. This is normal, not passive. I show people my house and I love it. I love being shown other people's houses. So in this case, it's the passive. I love it when other people show me their houses. Another example. I enjoy buying gifts. In this case, I'm the one who buys the gifts. But I also enjoy being bought gifts. That means I enjoy it when someone else buys a gift for me. And that's it. I hope it's useful. Please click the link in the description to get your PDF of the lesson notes. And thank you so much for watching.